Spider-Man 2003, aka Spider-Man the New Animated Series, didn't get much love from audiences and Spidey fans back in the day. Since I have taken on the responsibility of covering Spider-Man on YouTube, I thought it would be interesting to revisit the show. Honestly, I was pretty surprised at first and quite shocked by the brutality and violence in this kid's cartoon. Objectively speaking, the cartoon is quite average. I wouldn't rank it alongside Spider-Man the Animated Series or the legendary Spectacular Spider-Man, but it also doesn't deserve the status of being absolute garbage. I definitely have more loyalty to it than to Spider-Man Unlimited with its Cosmic Odyssey. From what I know, the creators initially wanted to make something akin to the Ultimate series, but because the first film with Tobey Maguire came out and generated a lot of hype and a fan base, the studio heads decided to change the original script, making the cartoon a continuation of the first movie. Viewing the cartoon through this lens raises a lot of questions, and I think it's worth discussing the animation. The animation has interesting moments, and with a few effects and chromatic aberration, it could easily pass as something about our favorite Miles Morales. While I am okay with it, I understand that this style might not appeal to everyone. So why, despite all this ambiguity, did I decide to make a video about it? Looking at my channel, you might understand that I'm a hardcore true Spider-Man fan, especially of Garfield's Spider-Man, because of its depressing tone amid all the content. Watching this cartoon, I couldn't shake the feeling that it strongly resembles an adaptation of the Amazing Spider-Man series with Garfield himself. The happy ending doesn't always happen at the end of the episodes. There is often an adult subtext, frequent deaths, limp amputations, and blood in a kid's cartoon. Wow. That's precisely why I caught the vibe of a fan YouTube video creator and decided to briefly recap all the interesting bits I noticed in my style. So grab something to snack on, something to drink, watch my video and enjoy the next 20 minutes. Firstly, there are huge questions about the cast. If you look at this through the lens of Sam Raimi's Spider-Man, some logical questions arise. Why does Parker look nothing like a 25-year-old pretending to be a high schooler? Why does MJ look like an e-girl? And James Franco, why on earth are you blonde? And what's up with your face, kiddo? From the first movie, the creators kept Norman's canonical deaths and Harry's hatred for Spider-Man, and MJ literally sticks to Parker the whole series, and hints at the physical intimacy that refers to body closeness. Ah damn, I mean sex in short. We'll be seeing a few more familiar characters down the line, but most of the cast here is original. I won't go into too much detail about each episode, I'll just give a quick rundown to save you some time. This way those who wanna watch it will have their own full experience. Again, if that sounds fun to you. In the first episode, the main villain is the guy who calls himself Turbojet, and he's involved in some basic robberies, only to get beaten up by Peter. It's straightforward with no complicated plot twists, so we won't dwell here long. Let's just be happy for our buddy as he gets kissed by a girl. The second episode features a much respected thug, who tricks Spider-Man by posing as a federal agent, asking him to steal a mega cool chip. This leads Parker into a conflict with real FBI agents and causes him to miss MJ's theater performance. The drama of balancing two lives and Peter's struggle to be a regular high schooler is present in this series, but I feel it's underdeveloped. And as we know, that's what we all love about Spider-Man's lore. Now let's address the questions that probably came to your mind when you saw Kingpin. Yes, I was surprised too, and didn't get it at first. But then I remembered Kingpin's portrayal in the Daredevil movie, which matched this depiction. I checked the movie's release date, did the math, and unfortunately got 5 instead of 6, and went back to watching my cartoons. I'm not sure if this reference was intentional, but I thought it was worth mentioning. After all, this video is meant to be informative. The third episode gets a bit more interesting. We see Dr. Connors, who you would expect to turn into a reptilian creature, right? But hold on, don't jump to conclusions. As a bonus, we also get to see good old JJ in the cast. This version of Connors has a partial horror vibe, with some pretty intense dismemberment scenes, and an unpredictable ending that made me loudly say,
"Stop the cap!"
During his one-on-one fight with Spider-Man, after Parker realizes it's his acquaintance, the lizard falls from a great height, face first onto the pavement. What would you think? Well, no, he couldn't survive such a fall, but he couldn't die either, because it's a kid's cartoon. And yes, the creators actually showed his death at the end of the episode, which doesn't align with the usual happy endings, right? It's strange how easily Parker takes it. Like MJ kisses him, and he happily goes about his business, despite the death of a close person, who just an hour ago was ready to kill him and his friend. Like, really, it happened, whatever. Episode 4 also managed to surprise me. We're introduced to a rich guy who collects rare animals and hires a badass girl to capture Spider-Man for him. I believe she's an original character, quite cool, with some magic powers, and has lived millions of lives on this planet. With her sword she can perform rituals that reverse her aging. What's the catch? In a hand-to-hand fight, she recognizes Spider-Man as a worthy opponent, which heightens her desire to fight him honorably to the death. She then cuts off the finger of a guy trying to frisk Spider-Man and gives the money to her employer, expressing her intentions. Naturally, he doesn't like this and orders her to be killed. The cartoon then flexes its kids' rating by showing her slaughtering all his henchmen and decapitating him. There is a certain wow effect, no doubt about it. The final fight is also pretty good and satisfies the craving for some action. Episode 5 introduces a girl who is clearly modeled after Black Cat, with whom Spider-Man has a somewhat strained relationship. She eventually ends up being Harry's new girlfriend. There is not much to say here, except for the notable concentration of adult themes and suggestive content. The ending of this episode is quite abrupt, as the character simply disappears. The creators probably intended to develop her story further, but the series' failure changed their plans significantly. Well, it is what it is. Episode 6 brings us a gang of evil Russian agents with some high-tech armor, who call themselves the pterodactyls, after their winged dinosaur friends. Seriously guys, just wear it. This episode also introduces a new girl, creating a love triangle and featuring gifts like CDS. Episode 7 is more lively, but mostly due to its cringe-worthy content. It's so bad it's actually good. The chaos here involves a school project where everyone is paired up, and Parker ends up with a crazy ghost girl who is obsessed with Spider-Man and serious sciences. She tells Peter she has built a mind-reading device out of random stuff, and during its test run, everything goes wrong as expected. The device zaps her brain, making her even crazier. She now communicates with Spider-Man in her head and dreams of being close to him. This leads to extreme jealousy and attempts to kill MJ, which fail, culminating in a crash test in an elevator. The episode also features a sentimental moment between Peter and MJ. Episode 8 managed to wake me from my sleepy state and gave me some real enjoyment. We are introduced to nerd and top student Max Dillon, who not only wants to ace all tests, but also hold hands with a girl, prompting him to try hanging out with the cool kids. At the coolest party, Max is invited to a secret fraternity meeting, but ends up being bullied and used as a live target. This sends him into a deep depression and rage. He gets a dose of electricity and transforms into Electro. Electro returns to the party, finds the leader of the arrogant kids and kills him in front of everyone. Remember, this is a kids cartoon, aired on MTV. As usual, Spider-Man fights the villain and emerges victorious by grounding Electro. The episode ends with a shot of the dead bully's grave, which doesn't exactly scream happy ending. Episode 9 features two brothers, bunch of idiots who, despite being incredibly dumb, suddenly become geniuses and start causing criminal chaos. This is due to a doctor who invented a drug that boosts intelligence. We are also introduced to Flash Thompson, the typical jock with maxed out strength. Flash uses the drug and becomes a chick magnet, but it's not all smooth sailing, as there are some downsides. We won't delve into the plot of this arc, but we will have some laughs at the absurdity of the episode.
Hey, the Flash man can walk the talk like he talks and walks.
Episode 10 involves Silver Sable, but there isn't much to say about her. Seriously, why did I even pick this series for a video if I end up skipping over each episode? Yeah guys, the series is actually pretty good, I recommend it. I'll just mention that this episode continues the love triangle and Parker's attempts at being a ladies' man. Episode 11, The Return of Electro. Electro seemingly survived, but not quite fully, and decided to stalk a girl who merely smiled at him at the party. Honestly guys, I get it. Sometimes you walk past a beautiful girl and already imagine yourselves holding hands, going out and playing video games together. That's alright. Max tries to find a soulmate and turns the girl into someone like him, but thanks to Spider-Man's efforts, he fails. He ends up in a generator, gets thrown into a river and seemingly dies for good. The only noteworthy part here is the positive vibe between Spider-Man and Harry, and a decent monologue by Peter at the end of the episode about the meaning of life. Episode 12 and 13 present a two-part arc, featuring telepathic siblings as the main villains. They escape during transport and during a fight with Spider-Man, take control of him and show him an illusion where he confesses to MJ that he is Spider-Man. Then Kraven attacks and kills her. Naturally, this throws him into a deep depression, and he wants to kill the evil Russian in reality. This is part of the siblings' plan to get revenge on Kraven, who handed them over to the Russians for experimental purposes. In a rage, Spider-Man beats Kraven and almost almost kills him, but hesitates when Kraven mentions they haven't seen each other in a long time, even though Kraven supposedly killed his girlfriend hours ago. Realizing it's all a trick, he confronts the twins and fights them, managing to throw the evil sister off a roof, despite her mind control. This turns out to be another layer of deception, and Spider-Man is left feeling utterly confused and looking like a fool in the eyes of the public. Gathering his last bits of morality, he finds the super siblings causing an explosion during the chase, from which only he survives. The episode ends with Spider-Man falling into deep depression and renouncing his role as a superhero, adding weight to the series. As I mentioned earlier in my video, compared to all the other Spider-Man content at the time, this episode gave you emotions that left you wondering, did the friendly neighborhood hero really give up because he couldn't handle the negativity anymore? I will be completely honest. Initially, I caught some positive vibes, similar to the Garfield series, which made me want to explore the show further, but now, after writing and voicing this entire script, I repeatedly found myself thinking, what is there to say about it? This part isn't particularly interesting, and that part feels unnecessary. If I'm feeling this way, it's hard to call this cartoon genuinely good. Sorry. To be fair, the project was unlucky to fall under strict constraints, connecting it to Raimi's movie, preventing the creators from fully realizing their potential. If they knew their character wouldn't make it to a second season, they might have crafted this ending to justify the show's existence somewhat. The series did manage to surprise me with its brutality and some cool action scenes. The cell shading sometimes felt like playing a PS2 game. Despite my best efforts to find some positives in this cartoon, the negatives objectively outweigh them. The character storylines aren't very interesting. The spider drama and universe are barely showcased in this series. Yes guys, I'm fully aware that I'm seriously analyzing a project that was clearly made just to cash in on the hype of the movie, but since this is a project about my favorite superhero, I couldn't just pass by and leave it on the sidelines. Taking everything said above into account, you can give the show some slack, because you still get a batch of emotions from watching these 13 episodes, albeit with a not so pleasant aftertaste. It sounds like I have eaten crap and I'm fine with it, but honestly it was interesting to see if this cartoon is as bad in 2024 as it seemed. So if you ask me if this is the worst Spider-Man project, I would say no. But if you ask me if it's worth watching, I would also say no. I don't know, you can watch it in the background, but nothing more. So hopefully, by spending my 4 hours watching this masterpiece, I have saved you some time and conducted my pseudo-based analysis on this topic. But again, I want to emphasize the ending. It allows us to draw a moral that sometimes even the strongest people, even superheroes, find it very difficult to cope with overwhelming moral trials. And it's easier to give up than to keep going towards your goal, to keep doing your duty, no matter what. Simply because it's not a choice, it's an obligation. No matter how bad you feel, and no matter how much you cry alone at night, during the day you're always ready to help your friends and try to bring positivity into the world with a wide smile, even if it's through a YouTube video about a fictional character using memes and fart sounds. So let's keep pushing forward and not get discouraged. That's exactly the idea I had when I started this video, and I hope I managed to convey my thoughts to you. I also wanted to share an unfortunate situation that happened while working on this video. Almost at the end of episode 12, my computer pranked me by crashing the project. All attempts to fix it with internet advice failed, so I had to start this video from scratch. Whether it was a coincidence or some sign from above, I found it very amusing that this happened in the video where I wanted to discuss the moment when Parker feels like giving up. And since you are listening to this now, you can see that I didn't give up and finished what I started, which in my opinion adds even more weight to my words about staying on the path to your goal. The approach to problems shouldn't be about why they happened, but about what to do to solve them. Thank you for watching until this point. I would appreciate any feedback. I hope you enjoyed the video and maybe even subscribe to my channel, as I have very few subscribers and it seems like no one is interested in my videos. But despite that, I won't give up and will continue doing what I love. So I would be grateful if you could leave comments on what I need to improve in my videos. See you later.